Tired of your current job? You want to start your own business? Well, you're in luck. Jamie Lee is hosting So You Want to Start a Business, where every Saturday he interviews actual business owners and they'll share their journeys. They'll give you valuable tips and strategies on how to start and grow your own business. Let's see who Jamie has in store for us today on So You Want to Start a Business.
Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of So You Want to Start a Business. And this is Jamie, your host. And today we have a great topic. Again, we're into the marketing round of things. I know that a lot of people are looking to kind of build their brand, get their business out there. Because without that, you don't really get your customers to come into you. So we have a marketing expert with you today. And today we are going to be interviewing Tiandra Robinson. Welcome.
Look, I said welcome. Thank you.
So thanks for joining us, Tiandra. Tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your business.
I am a marketing consultant here in Louisville, working with small businesses, more specifically working with a lot of the city's Black-owned businesses. I have a degree from Western Kentucky in advertising. I have a master's in marketing communications from Webster, and I've been doing freelance or running my business TMarie Consulting on the side since 2009.
And have you always lived in Louisville?
Yes, born and raised.
And for anybody else that's out there, you can tell that her and I both are from Kentucky because we properly pronounce Louisville and saying Louisville.
Yes.
One of those things that you always end up, you're not from Kentucky, are you? You're not saying it right.
Right.
So was there something about your childhood or your family dynamic that kind of attracted you to become a business owner?
No. So I know for a lot of, and I'm definitely speaking for myself, but I know for a lot of people, especially Black people, we weren't raised around entrepreneurs. And so what I like about our generation is I know a lot of business owners. So for a lot of us, as what we're trying to do is create generational wealth. And so we're doing that through entrepreneurship. And so for me, it's a lot of learning as you go and trial and error, because we did not come from that. Most of us, our parents, whether it was single parent household or both parents, were probably out here working. Some of our parents may have worked multiple jobs, and so for a lot of people, we just kind of grew up seeing our parents work a lot. So to kind of deviate from that, because I still do have a full-time job, but definitely entrepreneurship is starting to be the norm, especially in the Black community.
And for me, I'm older than you and stuff, but for my generation, it was in Kentucky, it was always farming and tobacco and stuff like that. And as that field and profession kind of started to dry up, the dairy farms and stuff like that started getting more sold, and then we all know what happened with tobacco and stuff like that. We kind of found more people looking to become, what do I do now? What do I do for my family to be able to provide and stuff like that? And I think that at least at that point, farmers and stuff, they're used to farming as a business. So it's like, what do I do now? I don't want to go to a factory or something like that. What do you usually see as far as with new business owners wanting to come in and stuff like that? Do you kind of see a kind of a background or common background that you kind of see with a new business owner coming in?
For most people, they're just wanting their goal in starting their business is for, of course, they don't want to work for someone else, but to create that generational wealth. And so you're just starting to see, I don't want to call business ownership a trend, but you're definitely starting to see a lot more of that, because people just getting to the point where they just are getting more fulfillment by just owning and operating something themselves.
And I always say with the pandemic, whenever the pandemic came around, everybody kind of realized the technology that was available since everything kind of went online, where it kind of seemed that kind of opened the door to be able to people being able to create a business online a whole lot easier. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, you definitely saw a lot of people had to pivot when COVID happened. A lot of business owners had to pivot, and because I even moved my business, because usually when I consult with clients, it was in person. But in my industry or in my particular business, it was easy for me to pivot because of course, I could just move it to phone calls and Zoom. But seeing that a lot of business owners had to do that, and COVID definitely tested a lot of people's will. And so you did see a lot of businesses come out of COVID, a lot of online businesses, and made you realize what a lot of things could be provided via online. So I guess the silver lining in that was that COVID birthed a lot of new business owners.
So tell us a little bit about your upbringing. Are you the only child, or do you have brothers and sisters?
I'm definitely not the only child. Raised in a single parent household. I have four older siblings. So I'm the youngest, and grew up in the West End part of the city. And so usually when you grow up in the West End of Louisville, there's a lot of, I guess, there's a lot of obstacles in your way in order to be successful. So for people to be products of the West End and to make it, I guess, whatever you deem to be making it, is really something to be proud of. So the fact that came out of a single parent household and came from that part of the city to be able to do what I'm doing now just kind of speaks to the testament of how determined I was to be able to be something.
Is that what led you to becoming a more of your business being surrounded or centered more towards black owned business owners?
So it would just probably just I tell people, I guess I was led in that direction because even when I started doing TMarie Consulting, I actually started out working as a publicist, entertainment publicist, and my clients were not even in Kentucky. They were in like New York and Virginia and things like that. And so I kind of segued back into just the marketing side, and it was always small businesses, but it just got to the point that most of my clients from the small business were black business owners. And so when I saw that, I was like, okay, well, this is a demographic that clearly had a need for marketing help. And so it just kind of transformed into me becoming like this black business guru. But it's definitely marketing. I'll work with any small business because small businesses are really kind of the backbone of the country, and they need marketing.
Yeah, to find that niche that kind of build your business around, it's nothing wrong with that. So when you went to college, and what kind of geared you toward the advertising and marketing side of things?
Even when I was in middle school, I always knew I wanted to do advertising. I was fascinated with commercials for whatever reason. So I definitely remember as early as like seventh grade saying I wanted to do commercials. And so when I went to Western Kentucky, that's just what I majored in. And some people will change majors. I really didn't change majors at all. I always stuck with advertising and did a minor in fashion merchandising. It was just something in that, I don't know, I guess it's the creativity side of it, or just, putting something together. I think maybe I like commercial jingles. I don't know what it was, but it was always, I knew back then that I wanted to do advertising. So that's what I majored in.
And did college kind of help you with the ideas that you come up for in the advertising and marketing, or what was the education more centered around?
So of course, the classes that I took at WKU were just, kind of the basics of advertising. To me, really, you probably really don't have to go to college to know how to do what I do, but it does help give me that grounding that I need when it comes to really being able to be a resource to the businesses that I work with. So it's good that I have that educational foundation of certain principles of advertising and even public relations. I had to take public relations classes. I had to take a few marketing classes. And so just to even have those classes for the basic understanding of business. I mean, it was helpful, but I think, with technology the way that it is today, with YouTube University existing, you can definitely learn what I do without necessarily having to step foot on a college campus.
Oh, I can definitely understand that. I went to college initially for pre-pharmacy, and then whenever I kind of failed my first two chemistry classes, I kind of realized that I needed to change fields. End up going into computer information systems and stuff like that. So, and that's my my job and my first job and stuff like that.
Okay.
For me, to me, a lot of people kind of talk about the importance of college now. And while I went to Georgetown College, and
Okay.
to me, I did a lot of programming in college, and now I end up going into more systems administration and stuff like that. So you kind of, it's one of those things of, oh, well, you're not using your college degree. But to me, I think that the foundation that you use for everything, or at least for me, comes from college. It kind of taught me the thinking of, whenever I used to build a program or something like that, the type of being able to trace and stuff like that. Now, whenever I come up with a business strategy or something like that, I still have that same foundation, I guess you could say, of the type of thinking that you need to use for that. So for me, I think that there's a lot of things that you learn now, and there's a lot of online training, but there is a foundational part of a college education that I still find important.
Yeah, and it's funny too, though, because actually in my main job, I do work with high school students, preparing them for some type of post-secondary education. So in the job that pays the bills, I am encouraging students to obtain some type of post-secondary degree certification or something. So, I could say that to do what I do, you don't have to have a college degree, but I do work in a field that pushes post-secondary education.
Yeah, for sure. So now I'd like to go into our second segment, what I call a lightning round. It's the first time that we've kind of used it on the show today. So it's more or less the list of basic questions that everybody kind of wants to learn from a business owner. So with that, quick answers. How long have you been in your business?
Since 2009.
And how long did it take you to become profitable?
10 years. It took a while.
And how did you gain your first customer?
Through social media. I just kind of put myself out there and started doing a lot of pro bono work in the beginning.
And was that your first type of marketing that you used?
Yeah, and this was when I first started out in public relations. So I was a publicist.
And what was your first big roadblock that you found in your business?
I still have a lot of roadblocks. But my biggest roadblock, is probably, which is going to sound crazy because I'm in marketing, is getting people to know that I exist, that my business exists.
And that's what everybody goes to you for, pretty much now.
Right.
Did you have a mentor that kind of helped you to whenever you first build your business?
I kind of did in the beginning, and really not so much as a mentor, but just someone who just kind of gave me some advice here and there. But I definitely am looking. Luckily for me, I know a lot of business owners, so I have, several that kind of pour into me and give me advice. But having a mentor, no, I don't.
And what type of bookkeeping do you use?
So with me, I'm a sole prop, so I'm a DBA, so I'm not an LLC, so I do everything myself for the most part, and I actually use Wave apps for my bookkeeping, but I do use a tax preparer. So I have someone that actually does my personal slash Schedule C. That's for us that file it on our personal taxes.
Yeah, and that was the last question, was as far as what do you do for your tax prep?
Yeah, so I definitely use somebody.
And,
I
and
used
what
to
did
do it
you
myself. I used to do
and
it
what did you look
myself.
for? What did you do? What did you look for whenever you were looking for your tax prep person?
Right now, just because of my tax situation, it's not so strenuous. So I didn't need a CPA at the time, and eventually I will once I change business entities. But just my tax, it's pretty simple. It's just the income that I get from TMarie, I can really put it on my personal taxes. So
Yeah, and that's we've had it in other episodes on here as far as talking about whenever you go into like an S corp or something like that, where you kind of have to build the infrastructure of your business a little bit more complicated and stuff like that. That's when you
right,
really need to make sure that you have that tax prep.
exactly.
All right, so now let's get into the more of the meat and bones of the marketing side of things. How did your marketing chops kind of help you in your public relations field working with entertainers?
So with me starting out in public relations, for me, I got my master's in 2008 in marketing communications, and I had this grandiose, dream that I'm gonna be a big time entertainment publicist, and I really just kind of put myself out there. I started working with the local artists at the time, and had a little bit traction here and there. And then end up landing some clients out of town. I had a comedian on my roster, and actually met him through an event at WKU that I was judging for. And then I ended up having an R&B girl group out of New York that I was doing PR for. And of course, I was doing a lot of this in the beginning for free, just to I felt like I needed to do that to build up my clientele and to build up my reputation as a publicist. But PR is so much different from like advertising, which they're all under the umbrella of marketing. But what people didn't really understand what public relations was, and they didn't understand why it cost so much, or why there wasn't an instantaneous return on investment. And so I kind of just got away from that side because I wasn't very successful in that. So when you asked me about a roadblock, it was probably that, not being able to be the publicist that I thought I was going to be. So I had to pivot and switch gears, and that's kind of how I got into just doing the marketing piece of it, because I went back to relying heavily on what I learned in undergrad and in grad school.
So with the public relations, or not necessarily public relations, but whenever you're working with your entertainers and stuff like that to get those type of customers, was networking really something that was really big into how you acquired those customers? And what did you
Yeah,
use
you def
primarily for your networking?
yeah, you definitely have to network a lot. And I think another roadblock for me was that I wasn't able to travel. And when you're a publicist and you're trying to get certain things for your clients, you have to be able to travel. And at that time, I wasn't able to go to different cities and major entertainment, networking, or industry events to really fully do. So a lot of things I did via phone, email, and things like that, trying to get this publicity or get certain things for my clients to get them in front of the audience that they needed to be in front of.
So did you use it also for as far as finding those clients, or how did you primarily find your clients and
Yeah.
work up that?
Yep. That same way too, through just, at the time, really Facebook was it. Maybe some MySpace here and there. But at that time, it was a lot of Facebook type things.
And whenever you, with your job taking you around the country and stuff like that, what kind of led you to more into the consulting side and starting focusing mostly on the small business owners?
So for me, I'm a mom of two, so I have two kids, and then I was still working full time, but I still wanted to do the marketing only because the reason why I even started doing TMarie consulting or doing this on the side was because once I came out of graduate school, I just knew that I would land a job with one of the advertising agencies here in the city. And so that never happened. So I was just tired of waiting for these opportunities, and I just decided, well, let me create my own opportunities. And that's how I really kind of started doing the whole freelance PR marketing thing. And so once I had my second child, it just became harder to really be as hands-on with a lot of things. So I was just like, well, at least I can tell people what to do. So let me try the consulting side. I'll tell you what to do. You're on your own once I tell you. Once I give you these marketing strategies, it's going to be on you to implement it. So, and I'm good at telling people what to do because I tell people in my household what to do. So I'm going to tell these business owners what they need to do. They need to do it.
Totally understand. So being in Louisville being the largest city in Kentucky, population, it's like in the 400,000 or so, isn't it? Something like that?
Yeah.
And I'm from a city that's barely got, a couple thousand in Flemingsburg. What do you see as far as for a small business owner, the biggest differences as far as whenever you're talking to somebody being in Louisville in the bigger city compared to maybe a smaller business owner in like a smaller town?
Well, of course, when you're in a bit bigger city, there's going to be more opportunities and more resources. And so it's really, if I had a client that was in a smaller town, it's just still getting them to tap into the resources that they have available. But even a lot of times I try to get business owners to just think outside of the box. And so usually I try to give them those out of the box marketing strategies for them to do, because it doesn't matter where your business is with, again, technology and the internet. You have way more opportunities to get your brand, your business out there in front of thousands. So it's just knowing how to put those strategies into place and using certain marketing tactics to do that.
So whenever, I was young and everything, the biggest type of marketing would end up being newspapers. Putting an ad in there. That was the main way that people contacted everybody or kind of seeing what was going on in their town. Any, new business that came in. What do you see as far as the biggest changes in the marketing field? And what are some of those out of the box type of marketing tips that you would give for a smaller business or a smaller town business?
Yeah, so for me, I like to get people to still think about traditional marketing, because again, a lot of small businesses, they don't have the marketing budget per se, so they tend to rely heavily on social media. So there is still, newspaper, magazine, billboard, of course, social media, Facebook ads, email marketing. So there's so many more ways to market one's business. And so, even guerrilla marketing, which is kind of in your face and constant and quick. And then even brand activation, which means getting the potential customers, to be hands-on. And so, like I said, when I'm sitting down with the client, I give them all of these things for them to figure out how to get those messages out. So where there's a will, there's a way for people to know that your business exists.
Do you see there is a big difference as far as the type of marketing that would gain the biggest ROI for a small town compared to someone in Louisville?
Probably in a small town, probably the biggest, I would think, is maybe like the local newspaper, or if there's a local radio station. Radio definitely still works. And even advertising on grocery store receipts. So I don't know if you've ever paid attention to a grocery store receipt. Sometimes there's coupons and stuff on the back of those. So even utilizing something like that. Sometimes I know there's like newsletters that might go out to the community. So even advertising in the community newsletters. So again, depending on the geographic of your business, there are ways to make sure that people know that your business exists.
And with that, there's a lot of technology coming up where there's a lot more do-it-yourself type of marketing. You can do Facebook ads on your own and stuff like that. Where do you see that a lot of small business are kind of going to, as far as with their doing marketing on their own online and stuff? What's the most popular way?
To me, what I still see is going to be through social media. And it may not necessarily be Facebook ads. It just may be them posting from their business page. They definitely rely heavily on social media because for the most part, it's still free. Even if it's not free and they do some Facebook ads, it can still be, you can set your budget for that ad and it's going to reach, so many people. So I still see a lot of those. And there's a science to Google ads and Facebook ads. Most people sometimes end up wasting money through trial and error because they think, okay, I can just put this together and throw it out there on social media and hope that it sticks. But there is still even a method to Facebook ads and Google ads, which is why now you have people who specialize in those things. And there's courses and certifications that you can get to be an expert in Google ads.
Yeah. What's something that, like a lesser known or something kind of marketing or something like that, even online or something like that, that a small business owner might not think of, besides the most popular ones?
I think really kind of what I mentioned earlier with the register receipt paper. People probably don't even think about it, but I know I've looked at my receipt front and back plenty of times. And if you even look at, like, if you've gotten a receipt from Dollar General, there might be advertising at the bottom of it. So even something like that, and like when I say like guerrilla tactics, advertising, like going out and taking some chalk and writing something about your business on the sidewalk where a lot of people are walking. So as they're walking down the sidewalk, they're like, well, what does this say? So now you done caught their attention. So then that's kind of a guerrilla marketing tactic. So even, I know one time I've even suggested a business owner take some bookmarks and put their business on bookmarks and go to the local library and stick them in books. Just pick books on the shelf, maybe a popular subject of books, and just stick the bookmarks in the book. So as they go to check it out, they're like, oh, there's a bookmark in here. And so now you didn't had eyes on your book, on the bookmark, and potentially, they'll come and patronize the business.
Have you assisted anybody as far as getting their advertising on the receipts and stuff like that for with other businesses?
No, I just usually, once I kind of recommend or suggest in my consultations, I kind of leave it to them to do that. But I have a couple concepts that I created that have gotten business owners on TV or interviewed in newspapers or even on the radio.
So whenever you first, like on your website, one of the options is your pick your brain sessions. What kind of questions do you usually hit with business owners as far as their types of business and stuff like that, that kind of help you narrow the best type of marketing for them?
So usually the pick my brain session is not a consultation. So really it's me kind of listening to the business owners, seeing what their immediate need is. And usually they just have like a quick question, or they just want to get an opinion or a suggestion or recommendation on how they should move from a marketing standpoint. So I don't go into detail. It's really kind of me listening and me giving them something quick that they can, possibly go and research on, or they may get from that pick my brain session, okay, well, I really, at this point, probably need a consultation. And that's why I think my pick my brain sessions are like 20 minutes.
Is there a type of percentage that you kind of suggest to a business owner as far as keeping income over to use for marketing?
I don't, only because the their what they bring in is so inconsistent. Some days are better than others. And I don't get into how much they're making in their business to be like, oh, well, I think this percentage needs to be allocated to marketing. So I just, again, I'll give them the strategies, and that way they can kind of determine, or they might research how much of those things, because I don't include like TV, because I know TV is super expensive to advertise on. So it's really just, I really kind of give strategies from a content standpoint for them to put out, mostly through social media. But I do give them the off of social media, like I said, with the guerrilla marketing and things like that. But I do try to find cost effective ways for them to promote. And it's just really going to depend on what the business is.
And with that, do you kind of give different types of advice as far as for somebody that is first coming in and starting to get income coming in, and then as far as hitting a different type of advertising possibly to be able to take that business to the second level of income?
Yeah, and it can be general, when I consult, it can be general overall strategies, or, the strategies are going to be different from a seasoned business owner from one that's starting out, because this seasoned one, especially depending on how many years they've been in business, may have already accumulated so much in their business so they can afford the more expensive forms of advertising, versus someone who's starting out, which might have to, again, rely more heavily on the free, which is going to be social media, versus someone who can afford radio spots and maybe a billboard and things like that. So no one size fits all. And so when I'm consulting with clients, I usually do research on the industry that they come from to be able to kind of tailor this, what I call a marketing blueprint, of strategies for them to implement.
Do you kind of for a new small business owner, would you suggest to find a type of marketing and learn that marketing, like a single line of marketing, like hit Facebook ads, kind of learn your ROI on that, I guess you could say, or your cost per customer with that? Or do you want to hit a couple of different areas initially to make sure that people know that you're out there?
So that can go two ways. And I have, tell people to focus on one first, put, kind of your all into that to see what type of results you get from that. But sometimes I may say mix it up and see which one hits the best. So again, it's really going to kind of depend on that business owner, how much money they're willing to invest in marketing, and how much work they're willing to put into doing that, and what their particular business is.
Do you assist as far as creating the content, or how in detail do you get with that?
No, I could suggest, and I'll take that back, because I actually have a content, I think, consultation, where I'm telling them, maybe the type of content they need to post, because I actually have told people, what type that they might want to create, what type, the times, days, which platforms might work best, because I'll even tell people, you don't have to try to hit every social media platform. Master one and then move on to the next one.
Do you teach as far as, or assisting with, like, do you assist like with split testing and try to teach like that, or more or less, because I think that as far as how the type of advertising that you create or kind of content kind of hits different people, I guess you could say, to where do you suggest as far as split testing to be able to see what's kind of hitting properly to your main target audience, I guess you could say?
Again, it depends. Sometimes, like I said, I'll try to get them to focus on one, and put a time frame on it. And then if that's not getting the results, then say, let's move on to the next. Because most small business owners are not going to, be able to afford to do so many at a time anyway. So it's just kind of like, let's do the free one. And most of the time that's going to be Facebook, maybe even Twitter. But I even told people now to even get into using LinkedIn more, because LinkedIn is, even with that being the professional social media platform to get, and most people overlook, they don't think about LinkedIn, but I'm like, that's where you can make a lot of connections, professional connections.
Especially
So
any
even
type
getting
of
people,
B2B business like
yep,
mine. Yeah.
yeah. So even getting people to think about using LinkedIn more as well.
What about AI? What type of artificial types of do you use as far as teaching with that?
So I haven't personally implemented AI into what I'm doing, and I know a lot of people are worried about AI eliminating certain businesses, because even AI can write a press release for you. They're saying AI can write books for you. We've seen what AI can do with images, and so at this point, it's looking like AI is here to stay. I remember saying AI was going to be one of those marketing trends for 2023, 2024, and here it is, and we're starting to see a lot more of that. So it's either like you can, I don't want to have to say accept, but adapt to what it is, or find a way to use it for good, I should say, and use it to automate your business and to kind of free up some mundane tasks that you have to do in your business. And so it's just find a way. I'm still looking at a ways that I can utilize it even in, my business. That way, if I can learn and master it, I can say, hey, this is what I've been able to use AI for. I think you should use it to do this in your business.
For a small business owner, I think that the biggest thing that they could learn from it is whenever you're hitting your business Facebook business page and stuff like that, is your social media content creation,
Yes,
or at least that's
definitely
what that
content
seems to be.
creation for sure.
That
Yeah.
because you kind of have the part of, oh, I think that's the biggest mundane type of thing that I've kind of had for my business is, well, what else am I going to create? What do I want to hit with them today? How many posts do I need to get out there? Oh, like that. To where, as far as the use of AI to be able to create those type of content, to be able to push out, to keep in contact with
Yeah.
my customers.
Yeah. So it's definitely something that I know that I'll be recommending moving forward is, what AI programs would benefit your industry, your business, and find a way to use that.
What's your secret to be able to tell? Because we've kind of hit on different things. I've kind of talked about split testing, different content, stuff like that. It can be overwhelming for somebody that kind of just wants to bake cookies or something like that. What's your type of expertise as far as simplifying things for business owners? Or do you have one yet?
I listen. I don't. To be honest, I don't. Because even for me, I'm one of those people, because I am a resource to business owners. I'm always having to study, research, and learn. So I'm always having to learn so that I can say, hey, this is what you may want to try to do in your business. So for me, I'm always having to keep up with marketing trends and what's getting ready to come up and happen, so that I can pass that information on to them.
I'm my main business or main job right now is tech support. So that has really helped me as far as you always kind of automatically come to the dummy down type of things, but not to call people dummies, but to be able to simplify things. You kind of get used to try to tell people the grand scope of what you're trying to tell them, but then also be able to give them like, well, in other words,
Right, right.
and that's hard to do sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of keep it simple. Like, Don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. Marketing is one of those things business owners you have to think about, but they don't necessarily may have the time to do it themselves. And I know that when I'm consulting with a lot of them, I try to give them things that I know that they can do. Some things are going to be long term, some things are going to be short term, some things they can do, some things they're going to have to plan out for. So it's just, social media can be overwhelming for a lot of business owners.
And we kind of touched on that as far as there's been a lot of changes since the pandemic, in a short range as far as that. Where do you kind of see things going, that next jump? Where do you kind of see marketing going to?
Marketing is going to be interesting with AI. It's going to push creativity to another level. It's going to probably make it easier to get that content out to the audience. But it's definitely going to push people to have to be more creative in their messaging, especially since we get bombarded with so many advertisements in a day anyway. You're going to have to be real creative in how yours is going to stand out amongst everybody else.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that I kind of look at is the mix of being able to use AI in your own creativity, together to come out with a product as far as advertising of what you kind of want to be able to tell with that. I agree with that. What's your last words for a business owner as far as your biggest type of suggestions for them as far as going forward and thinking about their type of marketing strategies to be able to create their brand and stuff?
Be consistent, be responsive. A lot of business owners that I've come across, a lot of customers, what I see customers complain about is when they're reaching out to businesses, they're not getting responses. So be consistent, meaning do it every day. Even if you feel like you're doing too much, you're not. Keep doing it. Be consistent, be responsive, and practice good customer service.
I can understand that because we kind of really harped on the part of websites. Businesses a lot of times in a small town and stuff like that, especially, never really needed websites. They didn't really. If I have a bait and tackle shop that I'm not really pushing things out there, why do I need one? Well, now that part has come in to kind of be able to, because there's no more yellow pages. It's online
Right.
now.
Right.
To where, you have pop-ups, you have mail lists, you have email marketing,
Right.
and there's so many things that someone that's not used to that of, oh, I forgot to check my email on this. Oh, I forgot
Right.
to check my comments and stuff on that. So that is something as far as I agree with you as far as being responsive. That's the big thing with marketing is
Yep.
you want people to inquire about your business, but then you have to respond to them.
Exactly.
And what's the best way for our viewers and listeners to kind of contact you and to be able to support your business?
Yeah, so if they need any marketing help, they can email me at tiandra@trthepr.com. My website is tmarieconsulting.com. My IG is at TMarie Consulting, and my Facebook is TMarie Consulting.
And we again thank you on this. No deep dive from you this week, but we do hope to have you back around to do a deep dive session with you as far as additional training and kind of tap into your expertise a little bit more. But again, we do thank you for coming onto the show, giving the information that you can. Any last words that you might want to have for anybody?
Support a small business. We are the backbone of the country.
Absolutely. So with that, if you like this content, if you find it helpful, please make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. We always say Tiandra will be able to check the comments and stuff like that to where if you have any questions, whether you just want to say thank you to Tiandra for coming onto the show, please make sure you leave a comment, like, subscribe, and we'll be ready to crank out some more content for you to help you start your business and to grow it. So with that, I thank you for coming onto the show, and come on next time. Thanks, and God bless.
Thank you. Bye-bye.